Alright, my name is Ben and welcome back to Play the Game Central. That's not my intro. I also sounded like I didn't know what the name of the fucking channel was. I had to remember it as I was saying it. Hello, I hope you've all been markedly well and that you're all doing infinitely better than the last time I was on here. I'm sure you are. So, I want to talk to you a couple of things today, updates. Couple in my world and a couple, one in the world of Play the Game, which we're going to talk about. So, a lot of you know that I write music, obviously, and there's this huge project going on right now called Z, which is huge only in terms of the fact that it's a huge undertaking in terms of what we're hoping to achieve. So, Z1 to 4 are now complete. So, Z1 is alive, you can buy that on like iTunes or listen to it and steal it, fuck it, rape it, I don't care. You can get that now. Z2 is going to be released on the 2nd of February 2018, so in just over a week. Z3 a couple of months after that, and 4 a couple of months after that. That's the intended release dates, although I'm not giving dates for the last two, just in case there's pushbacks, which occasionally there are. So they're all finished now. Z4 literally wrapped up the day before yesterday, which was good. I'm very happy that we finished those 4 records and we can move on to the other part of Z. If you don't know, there are going to be more than 4 albums. There's an acoustic album, which is like acoustic versions of some of my favourite songs from those 4 records, as well as a couple of demos that never really fit with any of the other records, but were still decent songs on their own, which will be the end of that acoustic record. There's a bit more than that as well, but we'll talk about that later. So, one thing I need to talk about right now is the Hurt Records Z box, is what we're going to call it, or the Z box, which is a wooden box, leather bound, which will hold all of your Z CDs. So, many of you will buy the CDs, or potentially not, whatever. But for those of you who have bought physical CDs, this is a nice collector's box, so you can keep them all in this one box. I thought it would be a nice idea. And we're not going to do it so you have to buy the CDs again. It'll just be a one-off price for the box. We'll probably release it around the time of the acoustic album, obviously, because that's the last kind of bastion. But yeah, so the idea is that this box will house all of your records and will look nice. So keep an eye out for news about that. There's also a Z book, which I don't know if many of you have seen it. There's been a video about it way more in detail where we show the first print of the Z book, but really limited run. In fact, we're only going to be offering the Z book to members of the street team right now. I mean, we're going to get maybe 100 done max, because I don't know if there's a market for it. I'm not an author per se, at all actually, and so I'm not very confident in that release. So they'll be given away for free to members of the Hurt Record Street Team. So if you want to join that, then you have to go to Twitter and message at Hurt Records or at the HRST, which are the two. I'll put them on the fucking screen so you can just do it. But if you message them, you can come and join the street team. And only if you want a copy of the book, which I'm assuming most of you don't want a copy of the book, because books are fucking boring. So let's move on from that. We do Z events. You may have seen there's been one on Play the Game, I think, or was that on my channel? I can't remember. But we're hosting Z events, which are events that are designed to drop you into the world of Z. With actors, with terrifying encounters, with tasks, puzzles, teamwork, the opposite of teamwork. There's a lot of things which are intended to ruin an evening of yours. So they're hosted in England. So in fact, for Z3, I believe is the first time we're opening up to people abroad, which will be interesting because there's some people who want to come here from abroad to take part in the event. Each event has a reward, and by the time we're at the Z4 event, there is a cash reward that would change someone's life. Like, it's a big deal, it's a lot of money, and it would be interesting to gauge what calling there is to be involved in that event, because for Z4, and that's the biggest event by far, we're thinking about 50 people the place that we like. What we do is we go to a really interesting location and make that location our own. Like, we've repainted the locations before. Obviously had actors in there. We've stripped locations to make them more pliable to what we need. And with Z4, that's no different. We know the location. We've now kind of booked it all, and the pyro and the lighting and actors, and there's a whole load of scary shit as well. But it'd be interesting to know whether it's going to be 50 people or maybe 100 people. I'm not too bothered about how many people come. I just want to make sure it's the right people who come, people who were interested in the story for the longest time. And that's the main thing for me, is I want this to be I think of it as like a thank you to the people who were so kind of connected to the story the whole way through, because you guys are fucking amazing, and you're the reason that these albums are selling as they are. Like, it's brilliant, and the word of mouth of you guys has just been insane, because we're not promoting these albums hard at all. They're just kind of sat there, and then you guys are doing all the work for us. Thank you, by the way. It's lovely. So yeah, that's Z4, but I'd just be interested to gauge how many people wanted to come to that, because I know there's an American audience. It wouldn't be out of our remit to offer flights and hotels to an American contingent. In fact, I've already done that. You know, we're doing okay at her, and it would be maybe we'll rent a hotel out. Well, for Z4 you won't need a hotel actually, but for Z3 I'm talking about. For Z4 you'll be staying for a weekend in the venue that I've chosen, which is different from Z3, which is a one-night thing. But yeah, I'm just trying to gauge if you're interested in coming or not, and how many of you are, and if I actually know you as well, because there are random people here, and it's not quite as fun. Beyond that, there are a couple of things I need to get through. Okay, the last thing about Zed, I won't keep boring you, I promise, is that the artworks, the physical artworks, have one large puzzle, which you have to hold all of the artworks together, and when you have all of the artworks together, you're able to solve the puzzle. The person who solves that puzzle will win the first prototype of the Fender Double End Baritone Concrete Pack-a-Punch. We call it the Pack-a-Punch guitar, which is it's the coolest fucking guitar I own by far. And it's handmade with Fender, with their guidance, and has its own kind of pickup, like custom automatic pickup selection circuit in it. It's the first of its own. It's first of its kind. It's supposed to be the evolution of a guitar, and I don't know whether it will be or not, but Fender really seemed to, well, they patented my idea, so I think they're working with it. But anyway, this is the first ever version of that, and it's a serious prize, and I hope that and actually it's the guitar that we used to track the records, because we had other guitars afterwards that I didn't use. They were like just additional versions, but the first Pack-a-Punch guitar was the guitar that was used to track some of the songs on the albums. So that will be yours. If you're the first person to work out the riddle, then that will be yours. That's a serious prize. Nowhere near as serious as the prize for Z4, but still, it's good. So that's the last thing about Zed. Moving on, again in my world, before we talk about Play the Game, I have a Kickstarter program going on for my band 2 Down. A few of you know that band. We're going to be making a pop record, which is a really fucked up pop record, and I've already got it in my head. But we're trying to get to a really small sum. I think it's like $2,000, or is it $3,000? I can't remember. It's a small sum. The idea being that we're going to invite you to a few sessions in the studio, really extended sessions, so you'll be up with us, where we talk to you live about the process. You can see the process, feel like you're a part of that process in some way. And we're having a streaming system installed at the old, it's going to be back at the old studio for that, but still of interest, I think, to a lot of people who never really get to see that side of it. And to be literally a fly on the wall for the whole thing is something that we've never really allowed before, because it's quite a personal time, and these are subjects in these songs that are really fucked up, so it might be extraordinarily interesting to you to see. that process, because we've never written pop music, because fuck pop music, but also the subject matter is so deranged for the pop music that it would be of interest, I think, to a few of you. So again, we'll link that in the description. You can go and check it out. I can't remember much about it, but I know it exists, and if it does succeed, then we can't wait to see you on stream when we go into the studio. And I think that's it. I'm going to check my phone ever so quickly, because there's lovely people, and you should go and follow them, at Hurt Records, who the Hurt Records have their own social team now. So if you ever have any questions or anything, you can ask those guys. There's 3 of them, Jacob, Callum and Cody, who can offer you insight. The Hurt Records street team also has a Twitter. It's at the HRST. You can go and follow them, or to become part of the street team, or just to keep up to date with that kind of stuff. I think that's all I need to talk about in terms of that stuff. So let's move on to Play the Game, because I think that we haven't really talked about Play the Game for the longest time. And hi mum, yeah, all's good, like uni's going fine, but did you know I spoke to someone who wears his cock in the sock, and if I wear my Hurt shirt you can usually see my nipples, but it's been the longest time since we've actually done anything on Play the Game. And I think I made a series which I didn't know whether to make this series and release it, or to make this series and sell it, because it's kind of what I do, is create, well, I've been doing it the last few years, is create formats for things. And this goes back to the Z events, which is kind of what their real purpose is to create a format for an event, which will be the first of its kind. But again, this was the format that I wanted to try for this series of interviews that I think we're going to put on Play the Game, and they're going to be called Play the Game. Right, let me just delve into this a little bit, because you might hate this idea, and if you do, then it's something that we won't do with Play the Game. Play the Game has run its course. Gaming channels are dead. You know, I'm not going to play Fortnite and stream it, because I don't give a fuck. Like, there are people out there who are amazing at that shit. I'm done with that. Honestly, I can't bring myself to do it, but there's a load of people here, and I haven't really known what to do until recently, because we get a lot of emails, I mean, every day, tens of emails every day, asking for guidance and for advice for things, and I read them all. I make sure I always read them all, but I don't always get the chance to respond to, well, maybe even 10% of them, but I really do appreciate sound like such a dick saying I don't respond to them. I would if I had time, honestly. And the ones that sound serious, really serious, they're the ones I do respond to. But I found that what's happened with Play the Game is you grew up with me. A lot of you who are a little bit younger, maybe, or were younger at one time, which is all of you were younger at some time, but you know what I mean. You think of me as like an older brother. Some of you think of me as your dad, I guess, which is absolutely fine, and I don't mind that at all, and I'm here to help you if I can. I mean, I should be the last person giving you guidance. I have a terrible track record with everything, but that doesn't mean that I don't know people who could give you guidance, or know of people. And so we set up 10, well, we've done 6 interviews, but there are going to be 10 in total. Interviews with people that I think could offer you more than I could, and could offer me guidance in a way. And so what I've done is reformatted the things that you sent me and approached them with a kind of Q&A. This is in person, it's filmed, and it's from people. There's one politician in the UK who's an MP, a prominent MP in House of Parliament right now, someone you would know the name of. We have a video game designer, again, someone who is the CEO of his company, which doesn't really mean all that much anymore, but someone who's seriously talented and has made games that I've loved for the longest time. We have 2 futurists, that's one interview with 2 futurists at the same time. A guy who talks about the philosophy of mindfulness and stuff like that, which I knew nothing about, because, and I did say to him, it sounds like bullshit to me. I've never meditated, obviously, I think you can probably tell. But still of interest, maybe some of you who are having anxiety issues and things like that, and it was interesting, and I do think it's utter bullshit, but it might be of interest to you. We have a guy who was the CEO of Coots Banks and went to Forbes, which is a big deal. We have the current, and I know this because I'm the level under him, I'm going to say this, he is God, should I say this? Oh God, this is bad. This is either going to be good or bad, and I can't decide which. There is a secret organisation in probably your country if you're from another country than Britain, but in most English-speaking countries, that's been around since before all of your ancestors. And this is the man who was until recently we call them chairman, although it's not really a chairman, who has a really interesting insight into the way that people operate with one another, and it's something that I learned very, very early in my experience, and I think would be of interest to you. I could just tell you now, but he is so much more eloquent than I am. And this isn't an evil organisation or anything like that. It's just that they are utterly secret, and we even in the interview we're very careful with what we say. But it's something, I'm part of this organisation. I'm literally just under him now as well. I've tried my hardest to get up there recently. But he's someone I've looked up to for the longest time. He's like a dad to me because I don't have one of them. And he's amazing. And I think it would be of interest to you to hear that. Anyway, so these are very, very obscure, eccentric or people maybe, who can offer really interesting insights. They may be useful to you, they may be utterly mental to you. These people have, some of them have really egocentric and narcissistic ideals about the world. Some of them are really philosophical and, I'm going to use the word democratic, but obviously not in terms of party or position or anything like that, but really believe in how to interpret communal democracy and things like that. Things that I think are really important, and this is beyond politics. I don't give a fuck who you vote for or anything like that. It doesn't matter to me because it's all banal. You are trapped. If you're really interested in politics, that's exactly what they want. Just well done to you. But no, this is beyond politics. This is far more important than anything like that. And these people are tastemakers in their own fields. I'd say they're the people who set the trends, the bulk trends anyway. And I just thought it'd be interesting to have people who have done very well speak to people who are now trying to decide what they want to do with life, to offer bits of insight and advice that you can ignore or adhere to. It's just a different idea because you grew up with us, and those people who were once, you're gamers, that's fine, or so am I, but people who once had time to spare and now find that they want objectivity and want structure in their lives. And I think that these people may be of use to you. So Play the Game was the name I'm going to use for the series because it's a way to get the cheat codes for life, and I've used the same cheat codes for the last 15 years. Okay, my personal life may have taken an enormous hit because of it, but my status went up, I guess, and I fucked up a load of things. We can talk about that at some point, but other things I didn't fuck up, and there were huge sacrifices that were made in the name of doing very specific things. Christ, this sounds narcissistic, doesn't it? Talking about narcissism, this is a really awkward way for me to explain what I'm trying to say. Some of it's good, some of it's like charity work and stuff, so we'll get onto it. It sounds really heinous what I'm saying right now, and I understand that, but it's because you have no context. So that was the idea for this series on Play the Game, and if you would like to hear more about that, then let me know in the comment section below, or email me, tweet us. Just get involved. I think that's more about what this is trying to reignite a new flame under what Play the Game is. Because the time of the stuff before, for me, is gone. For you, you may be avid fans in whatever you are, and so am I, to be fair, but there's a time and place for it, and I don't want to waste breath on something that I don't honestly care about, because I don't anymore, and I can't lie to you and say that this is the best thing we're ever going to do when we're covering that stuff, because sometimes you feel deflated, and that's what we were like with the last game, and trying to push ourselves to do that is not working for anyone, I don't think. So that's my idea for Play the Game anyway. My suggestion for now, if you want a copy of the Z book, join the fucking street team. Now, if you want to be a fly on the wall with 2 Down, go and have a look at the Kickstarter. It might be something you're interested in. If you want to learn more about the story, there are a couple of videos I just put up on my channel. You can go and see them. Follow me at Benn Down on Twitter. I'm going to be doing a lot of things on the run up to Z2. Follow Hurt Records at Hurt Records, and follow the street team at the HRST. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you're all well. I've really missed this place, and I will speak to you soon. Take care, guys, and au revoir.